losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's start this conversation. Let's start this conversation. We got no relation.
Evening, and if you're just tuning in and watching or listening, you have arrived at UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, and we are live. This is the Angel Rock. I'm your host, Loriliei Povtvin. I see you all tuning in there, and that's what happens with my guests. We get chatting, and we could probably chat for hours. Anyways, I'll tell you a little bit about myself before I tell you about our beautiful guest this evening. My name is Loriliei Povtvin. I'm a Canadian psychic medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher, and mentor. I'm also a registered nurse. I'm an animal communicator, as well versed in near-death experiences, having studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years. I'm also extremely well versed in the paranormal. I always say I didn't go looking for it, it found me, and it's actually what kind of got me on the path that I'm in today. We've shared some of our story on I know it doesn't exist anymore, but it was known as a travel channel, and on the series Paranormal Survivor, and it's excuse me, season 4, episode 9. It's called Demonic Hauntings. You're going to see a familiar face in there. She is our station manager and the host of her own 2 incredible shows on the network. I did not know her when we filmed the episode, but she joined the network shortly after I did. I'm coming up on my 7-year anniversary. I believe it's July 17th here on the network. Anyways, it is Michelle DeRoche. She is a host of on Tuesdays Beyond the Outer Realm from 2 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern, and the Outer Realm 2 nights, Wednesdays 9 p.m. Eastern, and Thursday nights 8 p.m. Eastern. And I believe I will be joining her in a couple weeks on Wednesday night on the Outer Realm. I checked my calendar. I knew it was sometime this month. I think it's July the 15th. I haven't confirmed with Michelle, but I believe that's the date we have set up. So you'll have to watch for that. Also like to give Joe Montaldo a huge shout out. We're actually broadcasting out of his studio where he is in New Orleans, Louisiana. That's the beautiful thing about the internet. We connect a whole bunch of different countries. Joe has started this network well over 25 years ago. He's also the host of his own shows. He's got UFO Undercover, I believe, on Wednesday nights. He's got News on the Flip Side on Friday nights, The Chat, and many more things like that. So thank you, Joe, for the space that you provide. Like I said, the network's been around for a very long time, and we stream multiple shows daily, 7 days a week. And when we're not streaming live, the archive server kicks in and broadcasts us. It picks random shows over the last 25 plus years. So you really get to see from previous hosts, previous shows. So we are live 24 hours a day. And just remember, it's not all UFO and paranormal. We're always adding new hosts and new shows. So there really is something for everybody. So if you could like, share, and subscribe, I know we would really appreciate that. I know I would on my YouTube, because I am trying to finally get to 1,000. I don't do too much on my YouTube, but when I get there, I plan on going live a lot more and doing things. So it's super, super appreciated. I'd also like to thank Carnation. Carnation actually sponsors all the shows, including the Angel Rock here on Mondays. It's known as Carnation Mondays. And thank you, Carnation, for that. Now, Carnation is a global brand. So if you're out shopping and on your grocery list, maybe there's something you need from Carnation, please consider supporting Carnation, because they support all the great shows here on Mondays. We have lots of shows. We got at least 2 after mine tonight. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere after the Angel Rock. What else I want to tell you guys? I got my little checklist here just in case. The other thing is, we do have a website. It's www.uprntalkradio.com. It is getting revamped. It's a big job, but it's slowly coming along. I hear there will be a chat room there, so that's one way that people can join us, because this network does broadcast every country in the world, but 80% of the listeners live are audio only. So I say, if you're listening and you're going, well, I want to join the conversation. I want to add some comments. I want to be able to, ask some questions. This show is very audience participative, and we appreciate everybody that's here. I always say you've got to see us to join us. I'm going to rattle off really quickly, then I'm going to let our guest, right after I finish off with this little bit of intro, to tell you too how you can watch from their platforms as well. So under my name, Loriliei Povtvin, or the Angel Rock, I'm on my Facebook profile, LinkedIn, my YouTube channel, which is the Angel Rock with Loriliei Povtvin, and I'm also streaming on TikTok this evening too under, I think it is under the Angel Rock 1508. And the 1508 is actually just my birthday. That's all it is. We're streaming from UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, or just UPRN, on our Facebook page, our main YouTube channel by the same name. We have a Twitch channel by the same name. Also, if you would like to watch us on TV, you can. The network does have its own TV channel. It's on Roku. And how you can do that is you go to the channel store on Roku, and you're going to type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop down list, and you're looking for, I think it's the third or fourth one down. You're looking for UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio. And that's how you can watch us, I believe. Yep. I think I got everything on the list tonight. So I'm going to read our wonderful guest bio this evening, and then I'll let her tell you maybe where you guys can watch from her platforms. And then we're going to say hi to everybody, and then we're going to jump right into the conversation. So hang on tight here. I'm going to wear my glasses for this one. So tonight we are welcoming back. She's a friend of the show and a fan favorite, and I hope to have her on many, many more times, as well as her lovely mama is in the chat, has been on the show before too, Tina Beckham. But we have Annette Beckham this evening. So Annette, known to many in this community previously as Azria, has gone back to her birth name. Is now Annette Beckham, is a writer, frequency translator, and founder of Alarian Resonance, and her website is going across the top of the screen for those watching. Born into a lineage of Celtic matriarchs, she has perceived the world differently since childhood, sensing energy, recognizing patterns, and engaging with intelligence that extends beyond the visible. Her work sits at the intersection of lived experience, channel transmission, and the emerging science of consciousness. It is shaped as much by her journey through trauma and reclaimed sovereignty by her multidimensional contact experiences. Annette's second book, I had first there, when it first came out, I found out, no, it's your second book. And it's called The Frequency of Truth, which just came out. We're going to talk about this tonight too. It's an incredible book. So The Frequency of Truth goes deeper into part contact memoir, part consciousness framework, and asks the question at the heart of everything she does. What if the sensitivity you've carried isn't a flaw, but a coherent biological response? Through Alarian Resonance, which is also the name of Annette's website, Annette offers frequency field transmission and frequency mentorship sessions for those on the deeper path. Her message is simple and consistent. You are not broken. The sensitivity you carry is a signal, not noise. The frequency of truth has been within you all along. Welcome, Annette. I'm so glad to have you back here.
Oh, thank you so much. And hi, everyone. It's always wonderful to come and chat with you. So thank you for having me back.
So how can people watch on your platforms? And then we'll say hi to everybody, and then we'll jump into our conversation.
Yeah, sure. It's Annette Beckham Official on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I think it's the same on X. I think the only one I don't have yet is TikTok. So yeah, but if not, Alarian Resonance, you can catch me on there as well, which would be great. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, TikTok I figured out because I have a program that I run that it took me months to find it. And so and I can't do it until I go live. So that's part of because everybody says to me, how do you stream with StreamYard to TikTok? And that's how. But it's a little bit tech heavy, but I'm glad because you get a different audience over on TikTok too. Mm-hmm. Well, let's say hi to everybody. So we have Lady D, or the Oracle of Delphi. She's saying, hi, everyone. Hi, Loriliei. Love you, Annette. We have Julie Jean Bassett, who is my animal communication mentor and good friend. And you guys, if you need help with your pets or healing, Julie is your lady. Believe me, she's worked with me with some of my pets, getting me to tap into my own animal communication gifts. And actually, it's not something special. And I know Julie will agree. All of us, I think it's our birthright to be able to communicate with animals as well as the other side and intuitive abilities. So if everyone, she's also an incredible shamanic practitioner. I'm sorry, guys, allergies. I've got a frog in my throat. Um, just incredible. I had a life-changing session with Julie, and I know she's been furthering her studies, and some of the things that Julie is capable of doing just blow my mind. So you can get a hold of her at juliejeanbassett.com for the animal things, or at Whitetail Shamanic Healing for the shamanic practitioner part. Julie, feel free to type in the chat if you've got anything coming up with programs or classes. And that goes for anybody else as well. If you're a teacher or mentor, I always forget to mention that. Please feel free to share. We've got Kiara Jade saying hello, Loriliei, and welcome, Annette. And then let's see, Astrolight Paranormal saying hi, Loriliei and Annette, and Victoria, who is Astrolight Paranormal, and her daughter and her husband has been on the Angel Rock. And I'm hoping October's starting to fill out, so I'm going to have to book a date. I'm hoping to get a bunch of women, not that there's anything wrong with men, but we don't see this too often, get together a panel and have a good talk about, off-world beings and the paranormal and what. I'm hoping to include Victoria in that as well. Excuse me. Let's see. Yeah, I typed in here because we were chatting. I said, I'll be right with you guys. I promise. So speaking of Annette's beautiful mama, we've got Tina Lumasol here saying hello, Loriliei and Annette. Great to see you too. Let's see. We're scrolling. Oh, thank you, Julie, about my 7-year anniversary. It seems like I just came here. I can't believe it's going on 7 years. July, I think it is July 17th. So got Contessa Martins. I know you've been popping in, but it's nice to see you because sometimes I haven't had the chance to make a big deal. I love all of you, but I've got to know Contessa a bit too, and you're all so lovely, and I appreciate you all being here. Oh, we've got Tristan here, Tristan Jacobson saying namaste, dear soul family. Welcome. Hang on, let's see. Everybody loves to chat and support one another. Oh, Julie says nothing coming up at the moment, but working on a new class. Well, be sure to share it with us, Julie, because Julie is an incredible teacher. I've taken her animal chakra course and her animal communication course. Such nice people in the classes too. Oh, we've got Carrie Fast here. Welcome. And Oracle of Delphi Lady D says Annette's book is phenomenal. Yes, I'm sure. I haven't had the chance to read it yet, but I know you and how gifted you are and connected. So do you want to remind everybody the title of the book and when it came out and why you wrote it? And
yeah, thank you so much. So here it is. I still can't believe it's actually in form. So it's called The Frequency of Truth. Exploring consciousness, coherence, and the hidden architecture of the multidimensional human. So this actually came out in May of this year. I think it's about the 7th of May. It's out on Amazon, Kindle, Barnes and Noble, Apple, all those fun places. And really, this is about 8 years worth of work. This is as Loriliei kind of kindly said, I've been working with energies and off-worlders and that my whole life, and really just started asking the questions that I think all of us are. Is kind of like, okay, well, I'm connecting, but how? If I'm a part of this universe, how am I connected? And that's when kind of the whole consciousness theories and things were starting to come about. So it's kind of a little bit of a memoir, not too much though, probably the first chapter or so, but then the rest is really as it says here, exploring, looking at this world through a different lens, looking through the world of frequency, because actually the frequency of truth to me is your own inner truth. We always look externally for so many things and so many answers, where actually it's inside. And what science is doing now is helping to answer those questions. So there's a little bit of science that kind of backs it up, and it's put hopefully in a way that's understandable, because you know what, if I understand it, loads of people are going to understand it. And
Mhm.
also it looks a bit of a be careful with my words there, it looks quite a hefty book, but the way it's laid out, I'm neurodiverse myself, so if I look at something like this, I would run a mile. But
Mhm.
it's actually, I've hopefully laid it out in a way where you can like pick it up, and there's only small paragraphs in there, so that even if you're the type of person like me who goes and picks it up, there are certain things that will jump out at you. There are certain phrases that will pop out and hopefully resonate in a way, and hopefully help answer that question at that time around you as this amazing multidimensional being,
Mhm.
or at least even start asking more questions that either the book or somebody else or people on this amazing channel can help answer and facilitate.
Okay, so for people listening, because this happens a lot, right? And with broadcasting, like I said, we actually broadcast to every country in the world. And there's people just kind of tooling around on the internet looking for something interesting to watch. And they've never heard the terms vibration and frequency
Mm,
and consciousness. What are
mm,
those things? Because there are going to be people who are going to say, I have no, because even when I began this journey years
mm,
ago, and I actually used to really, really dislike this phrase, and I'd hear it all the time from my mentors, you've
mm.
got to raise your vibration. I used to say, what the heck does that mean? Now I understand it very well. But there are people out there that will have no clue what these things are. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that and what you can share with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will just say, first of all, is that I was asking exactly those questions when I
Yeah.
first started, because like you,
Mhm.
as you said there, I was sick and tired of people keep on saying raising your vibration. I'm like, what the hell's a vibration?
Yes,
So
yes.
at the back of the book, I've got a glossary.
Oh, good.
Okay, there is about, I don't know, probably, I'm just going to guess, like that much,
Mhm.
and it's a glossary, and it goes
Good.
into I will answer the question as well, don't get me wrong, but there is sections that goes in the most simplistic words. What is consciousness? What is vibration? What is the quantum field? What is quantum mechanics? So it helps, not only, as you said, we're talking about these things, frequency and so on, but hopefully there it kind of gives you a quick reference guide, because I was putting one together for me, and then I thought, again, if I'm asking these questions, so is
Yeah.
everyone else.
You
So
just
where we
shared.
go into,
You
yeah,
just shared. You asked the same thing. What the hell does raising your vibration mean? Because I
yeah,
used to say that all the time. Like, what do you mean? And I'll tell you, even the paranormal activity in my home, that was so evil and it was physical, and we were getting hurt and burnt and kicked and
oh
bit and scratched. But once I understood what energy was and raising your vibration and frequency, I'm telling you, all the physical stuff stopped and became
yeah.
much more empowered. So I know there's people asking, what are they?
So that is an absolutely wonderful story, because at the end of the day, it is your own frequency. So let's just start off with the consciousness first. So the consciousness is all around us. We are, how can you put it? We are the consciousness in our own individual. So everything is made of consciousness, and the human body is made up into our physical elements. Okay, so even, I don't know, this book, this glass, everything is consciousness compacted. So you've got the whole unified field that has sort of brought down and down and down and down and down. Okay, so when we're talking about consciousness, we are talking about everything. There are multidimensional intelligences that sit within this whole field. Okay, so then when we're talking about vibration and frequency, so everything is made up of vibration and frequency. If you think of frequency, vibration, say if like you're strumming a guitar, and then the actual movement of the strings is the vibration. The frequency is what you hear, in the most simplistic terms. Okay, so the frequency is the actual movement. So if you're heightening your frequency or you're heightening your vibration, is that you're building up that momentum, you're building it stronger. But remember, it's also coming from that heart. Because as you said, if we look at it around us, we're going, okay, well, how can I talk about everything around when it's in me? So if you see everything as energy, not vibration, not frequency, not consciousness, if you're starting out on this journey, the biggest piece of advice that I would give you is that see everything as energy first. Make it simple. Make it as simplistic as possible. The two things to focus on is your heart coherence. So that is you. Okay, you are your heart to start with, and everything from your heart outward is energy, if that makes sense. So it's like when people talk about their higher selves, everyone says, oh, I don't know what my higher self is. Your higher self is that higher level of interdimensional consciousness that you can pull down, because through the years we have been slightly disconnected. So even though we are our own consciousness, there is an element of us that sits sort of just above us. So our higher selves, we can pull that down and in. I hope that answers the question.
No, it's excellent, because you're right. And for consciousness, and we all are connected, but that's just it. And I love that at the beginning, and you've said it a few times, and I'm glad, because we're taught to look externally for the answers, but especially nobody knows us like we know ourselves. And sometimes we don't even know ourselves. Like, when I'm teaching and mentoring people, one of the questions I get them to ask, bring into a meditation and sit with it, and it's a simple question, but not always an easy answer, is, who am I? Who am I really? And what people don't recognize sometimes, and again, there is no right or wrong answer to this, but we are not our bodies. Our bodies are just the vehicle we've chosen to have the experience where we are today, but we go on and on forever. That's why I love that you said, think of it in terms of energy. Go ahead. Sorry, I can hear. I can hear you.
No, that's fine. I was going to carry on from that. So you are consciousness in form. I've just made one or two notes here because I know I can ramble off a little bit there. So you are consciousness in form, and your field is the architecture, and your perception is the experience. So yes, you are in this body, but do not see your body as something that you need to escape from, because a lot of this kind of like whole love and light tribes, nothing wrong with that, but it's always about kind of like going out of the body. And trust me, that's great. When you go to sleep at night and you go out into the galaxies and stuff, fantastic. But when we've kind of like got our eyes open and we're dealing with the world and we're doing the dishes and things like that, it's kind of like, well, I'm not being spiritual right now because I'm doing the dishes. Well, actually, yes, you are. You're never not.
You're being grounded on this.
Exactly. Exactly. It's being in this body. So within the book, The Frequency of Truth, it's all around this whole system. So your nervous system, your fascia, so your skin and your bones, everything like that, your brain, your eyes, your architecture. So this amazing field of energy, this toroidal field that you've got going on, all of that being in coherence. So like you were saying there within that meditation, 100%, because what you're doing is you're slow, from what I understand, is you're slowing down all those systems. So you're kind of giving them a break, because I know with some people, they said, oh no, all I need to do is focus on my breathing. Fantastic.
It's great, but
yeah, because it's not about escaping the body. The body is a part of that consciousness.
That's what I teach. I think it's imperative, and I've learned it from a couple of great mentors, is that we need to be grounded because we are having a human experience, right? So again, even, and it doesn't matter, I'll even say people are going into a paranormal investigation. I'm not saying that that's what we're talking about tonight, but what people don't recognize, it's imperative that we be grounded before we go into that arena, right? So the body is here for a reason. So I'm loving that you're saying don't escape it, because that's the other thing that I was taught a lot until I think it was my crystal Reiki mentor. And I was always told, you've got to banish your ego. You've got to banish it. Well, you can't banish the ego. It's part of who you are and part of yourself. So she used the analogy of, before we do, we work with somebody as an Akashic Records practitioner, or even for ourselves, she always used to say, go play in the records, is to invite your ego along as a curious participant so that it feels
That's
kind of
good.
kind of
Yeah.
included, but because you can't separate it, like you said, or even come, like you said, separate from the body. It makes up who
Mm.
you are, mind, body, soul, right?
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I think this is kind of like where we're at the moment in this whole, dare I say, area of ascension. Because when you were talking about earlier around raising your vibration, people think of, well, raising their vibration to kind of like move into this other dimension. But at the same point, as you were just saying there about staying grounded at the same time, but that's the basis of coherence. Coherence is that middle ground, because you are in both worlds, you
Hmm.
are in both camps, but you're aware of exactly what's going on with the nervous system, what's going on with the breath, what's going on with the consciousness around you. But I think one of the things I also wanted to say in there as well is that where we're going into this level, as I said, of ascension, and the frequencies and vibrations and that around us with Gaia, that's happening as well, is, as I said, that level of integration with that source intelligence even more so. So, we were saying before about that consciousness, that unified field,
Hmm.
and it's linking into that even more, but staying in the body, as you're rightly saying there, Loriliei, around staying grounded. And that is,
Hmm.
and I think one of the key things that maybe we've identified here as well, and that I do talk about a lot in the book as well, is the language. Because a lot of what we're both talking about is the same thing. We might just be using slightly different language. And now I am going to point to, if it's okay, one of the videos I done on my channel a couple of weeks ago was more about the ancients and how
Oh.
we're linking like some of the ancient knowledge.
Hmm.
And like, for example, like back then there used to be obviously the seers and the witch doctors and that in the villages who used to wear the capes. Now we're getting the guys and the girls with the lab coats finding out the same thing that we've known for centuries and centuries. But again, now we're just using slightly different language.
Hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for people listening,
Yeah.
I just put it's not your fault. um, Oracle of Delphi, Lady D,
Mm,
uh, posted, our higher self is our connection to the divine, our
mm.
multi-dimensional fractal of God. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's very much with that source intelligence. Yeah. Lady did absolutely right. That's wonderful for saying. Definitely. And I
So,
think, as I said, to me, it's the language. And from someone either with who is neurodiverse or neurotypical, it's, to me, I found it, being in this spiritual space since like the 80s and 90s, how that language has changed. It got me so confused. I'm like, hold on a minute. We're talking about earth energies, but then we're talking about you, because it's kind of like you could either be really grounded and like really focused on the trees, or you were in the camp of being very cosmic. And I'm like, but I'm in both.
yes.
Can I be in both, please?
Yeah, but that was
I can't
too.
see
It
the
still
difference
is.
between the two.
Hmm.
I can't see the difference between the two.
But you know what? Okay, so Spirit has shown me this, and not just me. I'm sure Spirit has shown many people. But if there was such a thing as an ideal place for everybody to be on this planet, we would be perfectly connected to source through our crown and upper chakras, as well as that energy radiating all the way through the body, right down through our feet, connecting to the center of the earth. We would have the perfect balance of yin and the perfect balance of yang, if you will. So,
Mm,
wherever there's, this, but for people listening that might not, if you've got good, you've got bad, you've got light, you've got dark, but you would have perfect balance. And I think I don't know, I almost feel like with ascension, we're getting more into balance, if you will, like attracts like energy. So if we are in that higher vibrational state as well as in balance, you just generally will move, if you will, into that timeline, into that dimension, because I at least I believe that, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I absolutely agree. And like when I was saying earlier around language, being in balance is just another word for being in coherence.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
And I mean, if the visual that I kind of give in the book and that I've been using for the past 2 or 3 years, like I think maybe the first time we met and was on like one of the first shows, is that and I still really and truly see this and believe this, and with the team of interdimensionals that I work with always give me this same diagram they have over the past 8 or so years of the body being, say, like a radio. So apologies if you guys have heard this before, but for the people who are maybe new to me and stuff, would just like to take a minute to kind of explain, following on from that beautiful description you just gave there, Lorelei, around, as you said, each of those chakras being in balance and having that connection not only to the source intelligence, but also to the earth as well, is that within our DNA working as that fractal antenna as a part of that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as we're picking up on all these different frequencies from not only around us, but most importantly, from that unified field. And what we're learning is when we're in that coherence, we are the best piece of technology that this earth has ever seen. And that's why I think a lot of the interdimensionals are really kind of watching us at the moment. It's kind of like, oh, they're all coming online now. All the lights are shining really, really brightly.
Yeah.
Because the amount of information and the amount of ability that really is, as you were saying, coming online because of that balance, because of that coherence. Our DNA works as a fractal antenna. Again, a lens I'm just looking through within the book. Because a fractal antenna can pick up lots of frequencies and information at once. The difference being is that we just need to learn to tune our radios in a little bit more. And I'm using kind of like that hand signal a little bit in regards to, obviously, the old big wireless radios back in the day, not like these little digital ones with the buttons that I still can't use.
Yes.
But it's because I think with this multidimensional human, we are capable of so much more. Because I mean, I know when people say, and I think you beautifully put it earlier on. Oh, I can't remember the lady's name who does the amazing animal healing.
Julie.
It's just everybody can do it. So we can, and as I said, within that coherence, we all have that ability with that communication.
Mm-hmm.
We all have that, whether it's to animals, whether it's to the unified field, whether it's to each other. Because I think within the next few years, that level of, sorry, the word escapes me, but telepathically, sorry, we will be able to do that more and more. And people say, oh, they're clairvoyant. More people be coming online. But I think even with those abilities, though, the words for those abilities will also change.
I agree wholeheartedly. And, just I'm hearing spirit gently suggesting to share this, but what the journey I've even been on, and we were talking a bit about it before we went live, is the energy feels very frenetic right now, kind of chaotic, because I think there's a lot of movement, but I haven't delved into this in a while, thinking we are always done the work, right, on the inner healing. Well, I'm back there again, digging into the deeper layers and really, really looking at that inner healing, and then sort of marveling at the fact that I was feeling this pull like a magnet to go there and start really digging in. So again, maybe it has to do with the energy, as well as we know it's a progress, like it's a work in progress, right? Healing. Spirit always meets us where we're at, and then right as we evolve and grow, then we dig a little deeper, a little deeper. So speaking of your book, with that, how can people use the book? Because I know there's a lot of people really feeling this. They don't know what the label is, they don't know what the words are, but it does. I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, or anybody in the chat. It feels very frenetic, the energy, like something's almost like it's ready to split, if you will, or break. Like it feels at that point.
So no, thank you for asking the question. So within the book itself, there's 11 chapters, and it does go into said what coherence is, and a couple of exercises around how you can actually work on your own. Oh, that's beautiful.
I'll read it quickly, just one sec here. So
you.
Tina, your beautiful mama, wrote heart coherence to be open to connect with a higher self, connection to source, and as above, so below, to feel Gaia's energy. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So this book, as I said, it's a journey, but at the same time, it's also giving you language for your own experience. And that's why sort of chapter 1 goes into my own journey. So all of this is my own experience from where some of you are right now, and maybe where you've been, but still can't actually maybe find the words or the expression or the feeling for it. Because it might not necessarily fit with what maybe somebody else is doing or what somebody else is saying, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. So it goes into things like, okay, well, we'll start maybe looking at the nervous system and how to start regulating that as one step. But actually, I'm kind of being told again by Spirit myself that it's looking at, how can I put it, the individual. Mm-hmm. As I was going to say, as Tina just said there, as Mum just said there, that heart coherence, because the main message throughout it, as I said, the frequency of truth is that going into that heart coherence, that heart vortex. Because again, like I was saying at the beginning, sometimes we're looking for things outside of ourselves, where actually now the most important thing in my experience is that going in. But everyone says, like you were saying absolutely rightly at the beginning, with everyone says, oh, we'll raise your frequency. Well, what does that actually look like?
Yeah.
That's what well, it hopefully gives you a lens into the window in order to have those questions answered. I will never say I've got all the answers, because I don't.
I always say run when people say they're an expert, or I have every answer you will ever need.
Oh, that just gave me goosebumps. Run. Yeah. Because I mean, I've gone through some trauma. I mean, this isn't a self-diagnosis thing, but yeah, quite a few traumas and that through my whole life, and being very, very sensitive myself from a very early age, masking, questioning, and it goes into your own authenticity and your own sovereignty yourself, because again, that is where the largest frequency and vibration is starting to build, because the more people that do is then going to help. As I said, Gaia, it's then going to fit. It's kind of like one feeds the other, and it's not a competition. It's not, oh, so and so is on that level already, or they're visualizing already. Bollocks. Sorry if I can swear or not.
You can say it.
But it's complete. It really is. It's how your own journey is progressing. And as I said, within the frequency of truth, it is, what is your truth? How do you feel about it? What's your language? What's your experience? Because a lot of the time I also find people thinking, oh, I've had this experience maybe with ETs, UFOs, higher intelligences, but it's not necessarily the same as that person. No, it won't be, because their vibration's different, their frequency is different, their they have different brain patterns. Their whole life has been different. So yes, it's not necessarily going to be the same. And it also, the one last thing it does give you is, was kind of like a two-parter, is that you're not broken.
Love that. Mm-hmm.
You're not, because I thought I was until a few years back. Because I thought, why is everyone else's life so different? Why is nobody else feeling how I'm feeling? Why is it like I can walk into a room and just burst out crying? Why? Because you are wired slightly differently. You can pick up on more of those signals and vibrations, and it's not necessarily closing off to the world. It's just starting to see how that wiring within you can start to utilize. You can start bringing it into a more of a coherent pattern that you can, I'm not even going to use the word manage, because you don't. You then bring it into your own authenticity and you stop masking.
It's interesting you're saying some of these things that you're saying, because I was watching a few reels. I was telling Annette I was setting up my fairy garden and had something playing. And I have talked about masks for years, not so much on this network, but previous networks I've been on. And, because we all do wear masks, right? We wear the family role mask. Sometimes
Yeah.
we're, a daughter, and a mother. We have a work mask, we have a friend mask, we have whatever. That's why I was saying earlier, the only person that knows you best is you going within.
And your higher
That's
self.
why,
Yeah.
that's why it's important to sit down in a quiet space and have this conversation with yourself, because who are you? Like, and I'm sure you meet a lot of people, as do others who work with clients as well. One of the first questions, I was guilty of it myself way back in the day, right? Why am I here? What's my life's purpose? You'll know what your purpose is. And just as what you were speaking of before, I kept hearing from spirit, to compare yourself to other people. They're not here for the same reason you are. You've made the decision to be here, to incarnate into this lifetime. You've set goals, if you will, missions for yourself. Mission sounds really complicated, but and it can be complicated for people listening, but you're here for a specific reason. That's why when you've been saying at the beginning of the show and throughout, that's why it's so important to go within. The answers are there, and making that connection, if you will, to your higher self. The other thing I always say to people too is that even though during some of the lowest, darkest times in people's lives, and I love that poem, Footprints in the Sand, I have ever since I was a little girl. But the older I get and the more I get into this work, I realize we're never alone. Never, never, ever, ever. Regardless of what your belief system is, you're here for a reason. So I'll use God for an example, because that, and I'm not saying that it's only belief system, but I'll use God. That's my belief system. And, I've been taught, I say I'm a retired Catholic, that God is everywhere and God is your father. Well, if you look at it, any good parent, say you're sending your child off to summer camp. You're going to send your child with everything they need. And it is there, right? It is. We're never alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, just keep on turning my fan on and off because it is boiling here in the UK at the moment. But yeah, yeah, you definitely. And again, when I was a child, and I would be seeing, I said, the blue lights in my room and the beings at the end of my bed and stuff like that, and you told people and they looked at you as if you had three heads, but to you that was normal. So I've absolutely grown up knowing that there are, again, the language has changed throughout 30, 40 years, but now we can say it's the higher intelligences, or it's God, or it's, again, whatever your belief system is. But I just want to, if I can, just go back to what you were saying earlier around the masks as well, because one of I don't think it's out yet. I think it's out next week. A audio that I've done on my channel around the inherited beliefs we pull from our family as well. When somebody says, oh, you're like so and so, or oh, you're
Always.
just like so and so, and we go out and consciously or unconsciously we then look for evidence that we are like that person, and we take those beliefs on. So you've got that element, that's one layer. You've got the element that you were just mentioning there around, you've got you at work, you've got you at school, you've got you with your friends, it gets tiring. It really, really does get tiring. So there is a number of layers to kind of go through. And also one, again, which I'll be talking about in about a week or so, is those that maybe grew up without parents, or grew up in a one-parent household like myself. And you're always wondering, well, what was the other side of me?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure loads of people can relate to that. And we bring it back to that perception, because again, why are you looking for another half of you when you're actually a whole person? And we start asking and I'm going to say answering the questions, but in a light way, just through my own personal experiences, and again through the lens of coherence and perception. Because it took me a long time to realize, again, as a child, I used to like run away and look for this person. And again, I go into more details a bit later on, but when you never actually feel whole,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know kind of like another one of those parents. So again, it's that level, and like you were saying earlier, of healing. Because again, I do think we're being, as a part of that healing, and again, what we were saying earlier of heightening that frequency, because if we're moving into this new dimension that is again a higher frequency, why would we want to bring all this for want of a better word, rubbish with us? So if there is a way of healing it, clearing it, or in some cases dumping it off the side of a cliff, then great. So then we can feel lighter. But everyone will go through their own ways and means and methods. But in the frequency of truth is just that one, another way of working through those as your authentic self.
So when you say your truth, just for people listening, and we're not hearing voices, you and I, and people in the chat that can hear spirit, but you hear it while we're talking. So
Yeah.
somebody, like, again, just tooling around on the internet, comes upon this and hears your truth. So without giving it all away, because we want people to get your wonderful book too, but what are we looking for when we sit down and we find out what is our truth? Does that mean, if you will, unraveling the things that are holding us back in life, the things like, I'll use one of the top 4 fears in the world I know is fear of success, for example. What is that? What do I dig into it? Does that need to be healed? Or maybe, feelings of unworthiness, but it shows itself in a different way. It's masked. Is that what you're talking about for people? Or can you define it a little bit more for people? Because I know people are going to hear this and go, okay, what truth?
Your own truth. So when we talk about the frequency of truth and your own truth, is that it's more around coming from the heart. So yes, absolutely, it does connect with all those other layers that you were talking about. It is the fear of being seen. It is all the different fears, all the different sadnesses. But if we look at it from the absolute base first, because again, when we start looking at these things, people want to go into every single area of their life and clear it really quickly. But the one thing I always come back to is simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
Make it simple. Start off simple. And I absolutely loved it when you said earlier, it's just taking time to sit. Because your truth is that moment that you sit quietly, you put one hand on your stomach, you put one hand on your heart, and you breathe right from the base of your stomach all the way up. And however you feel in that moment, that is your truth. Start simple. Your breath is the most simplest place to start. It's not going into the fear. It's not going into work. It's not doing the dishes. It's not going into your fear of confidence. It's not, because trust me, about 2 or 3 years ago, there was no way you'd get me on camera. No way. I mean, I've done presentations in corporate offices, and geez, I think I needed about a week or so after to. So there are things that I've also worked through, but the best piece of advice I ever had was the one I've just given.
Keep it simple.
Because without breathing, you don't exist. So what is the most simplest things to start with? Because a lot of people start, and again, that links back to the heart. So, yeah, if we are talking about purpose, if we are talking about passion, as you said, what is your truth? What is your purpose? What are you here for? It is completely you. You are the purpose. And sometimes we have forgotten what we like, what we enjoy, what our passions are. So taking that moment, whether you do 5 breaths, 10 breaths, and again, I really want to find the lady who I saw this with, and is when we look at, say, quantum prayers, for an example, the biggest thing within, if you're looking at prayers, affirmations, we were talking about language earlier, is to back that breathing up with that moment of safety. Because a lot of us, again, don't know what your future or don't know what your past has, whether you've got all the kids running around, whether you had a horrible past or whatever, is just taking that moment to say, I am safe. Because again, we're going back to that level of coherence. So if you can do that and say that, with, as I said, hand on the heart, because again, you've got major chakra points in your hands as well, which you're then connecting with the heart. You're then connecting with the solar plexus. Again, if we wanted to go that deep with things there as well, and you're providing that whole circular system from one chakra point to another. You're automatically you've brought in that level of safety, because you're enhancing that toroidal field around you by focusing those chakra points together. And it's then when you actually can, again, like when you were saying earlier, Loriliei, around asking yourselves that question, not what so-and-so thinks, not what that person wants you to think, not what that, no. If you can spend that 2 or 3 minutes, seconds, and just focus on breathing just as a starter, and people might be saying, oh, well, my brain's too busy for that.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, mine was 100%. And that's why, again, you're using your hands. So where your hands go, you will automatically, it's been neurologically proven, where your hands go, what you hold. That's why a lot of people like to fidget, because it keeps the brain going.
I'm a fidgeter.
The brain active. Like, oh, I've got loads of like fidget toys on my desk. Trust me.
I think that comes with being neurodivergent, though, too. Like, I have, well, with my back too, but I'm constantly moving. I don't even notice it anymore. But even if I'm sitting in the chair, the foot's going. Or yes.
Oh yeah, it always needs to be fidgeting with something. But you're automatically you'll stop or you're calm. So your frequency of truth is whatever yours is, and the best way to start with it is just by taking those few seconds. It's not breathing like having to breathe in 5 times, breathe out 8 times. It's not having to visualize whatever it, because again, neurodivergent brains, if you've got 101 tabs open, there is no way you can start visualizing
I
something.
agree.
No way in hell. I know I can't. If that's a really, really busy day and you've got 4 or 5 tabs, no. Exactly. Got to be moving.
Yeah, so that was Yo Baby 444 saying, yeah, being an empath and ADHD, got to be moving. You know what the beauty in all this is, though? Because, and I'm not trying to be critical because there is always somebody for everyone, right? I like even with the clients that I work with, and I'm sure you and everybody else that feel this too, we work with who we're meant to work with, right?
Mm.
But I'm finding that the spiritual field now is sort of being taken over by, instead of the word religion, spirituality and light work is sort of slapped on top. Nothing wrong with it. If that works for people, whatever vehicle you take and road you take to get you to a higher state of consciousness and love, you do you. Nothing wrong with that. But I love what you just said because I have found over the years too, and again with no judgment, that that people seem to think when they're teaching concepts that it's got to be this high vibrational woo woo or astral with so many words, and so I think that's the beauty in it, and you sharing with a neurodivergent brain, right? Like you said, you've got 20 tabs open. That would be me as well. You haven't got the room or the space or the focus to open tab 21. So keeping it simple and getting back to basics, right? Because it's, even though where I'm going with this is you've got people teaching this, making it sound like it's this lofty, high on top of a mountain. And unless you spend years or so many breaths or so many courses or so many this, I think that's the beauty of all of this. Just
Yeah.
going in and being, finding your truth and keeping it simple.
Because we are all consciousness, we're all connected already. The difference being is that, as you said, that there's that level of free will as well, where again it's giving yourself permission.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you.
I'll read it out loud because that was very kind. Yo Baby 444 says, As Azria or Annette, that formerly Azria, anybody out there, she changed my life. Best rating I've ever had.
Thank
Um,
you. That's very kind.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes. But that's where I'm
Um,
going with this is, right? Like you said, truth. Truth doesn't have to be difficult. I've always said what it takes, though, is it takes courage to hold that proverbial mirror up to one's own self and take a deep look and say, what what am I seeing in this mirror? Because invariably, I find even the clients that you end up working with, say if I'm going through something or I'm working through something, clients that will come through, will, it won't be the same issue, but the topic will be the same, right? Because of that radio signal we put out, right? A lot of things, people are mirrors for us too, to take a look at, maybe
yeah.
when it comes to issues and what have you.
Yeah, where you go, your energy flows.
Mhm.
Where you, and if that's, it's kind of, when we were saying earlier, and I think that's absolutely beautiful what you just said there, but it's kind of like when we were saying earlier that like within the unified field is that higher intelligent consciousness, and the body and we are that compressed our own individual ball of consciousness, where we've got that multidimensional architecture with the nervous system and everything in it. So we are always then connected.
Mhm.
And if our signal, as you just put it, is sending out, I'm worthless, or I don't like this, or I don't like the world. And trust me, we've all been there.
But there's a lot of that right now.
Yeah,
There is a
guess what you're
lot
going to get back. And
of.
again, this is not coming from judgment. I absolutely promise you, this is a hand on heart from my own experience.
Mhm.
Because again, as you were saying, where you go, your energy flows. So if you can come straight back in, and I'm not saying this is going to be your absolute ultimate kind of get out of jail free card, because as you amazingly said there as well, is that the people who come and find you and that we help and talk through, before I start any session, that's the first thing we do is come back into the room. And the other thing I was going to say there as well is what when you were saying around like all these amazing yogis and everything like that, who, as you said, people have been, they've been meditating for 20, 30, 40 years and the best at whatever. It's kind of like, yes, but have you lived? What is your day-to-day life? How are you actually getting through the day? So that's why I think the point you just made there around where you go, your energy flows. Because if we look at our toroidal field, so that ball of energy that kind of goes up, around, and all the way around, it's something like a meter wide. So if you are coming into contact with all these other people and all these other things, and you are pushing out all of that, say, negativity, guess what? That's a lot to be pushing out. So, and again, this is not coming from judgment. This is coming from my own personal, and similar to yourself, Loriliei, is that we've all walked that path. And I think that's the difference, is what I was really trying to get at when I was talking about the yogis on top of mountains and stuff. It's we've all gone through all of these experiences, and those people have gone, oh, I'm absolutely fine now, I'm great. No. You still have your up days and down days, and especially neurodiverse, you know exactly when to, as you said, those masks and things. So it isn't, you still have your up days and down days. We all do.
Yeah, but that's
And
being
it's just admitting
truthful, acknowledging. Like when I shared before we went live, I said everything broke at once. Like I was like, am I cursed? Like what? And of course, it wasn't that. But and I still haven't discovered all the reasons why yet. But eventually, it will become apparent why it all happened at once. Like the computer, my phone, my Apple Watch, my 3D printer, all like within a day, right? And they're all fixed now, and it's all back to normal. Thankful for that. I'm not sure what like I said, there must be some lesson. Maybe I was meant to meet someone, whatever it is. I may not know what the reason is, but where I'm going with all of this is that's part of the truth of what you were just saying before, of when we have a bad day, accepting that, yeah, I'm having a bad day, and maybe I'm not high vibrational. That's okay. That's okay. That's part of the truth, right? Because, and the other thing, Spirit brought this up earlier. I'm going to keep bringing it up, but I'm going to say it because I'm finding too, and it's hard. I've done it myself, where we put people on pedestals, and to remember that we don't need to do that. That magnificence, that thing that you resonate with, that you feel so drawn to, or whatever it may be, you have that within you, right? Because we're all connected. That's part of, I think, seeing that truth.
Absolutely. And I think the more we remember, the stronger our signal gets as well. Because moving into this time, as I said, of ascension and discovery and disclosure, or however you like to phrase it, is that the main, for me, the disclosure and the ascension, it all comes down to me personally, it all comes down to the individuals. And I said, the more of us who start remembering exactly who and what we are within our own frequency of truth, that's the real ascension. That's the real disclosure.
Okay, so for people who haven't heard ascension, what is that then? I know what it is, but for people that are listening and going, what? Why are you talking about ascension? What is ascension? No, many of us that are in the chat, I know you will know, and I don't mean to make that sound elitist.
No, so the ascension is that we're moving in from one direction to another. We're heightening our own frequencies. We're connecting even more into that unified field. And we're connecting with those other intelligences. I mean, the explanation can go wider and wider and wider, depending on your own interpretation, but that's mine. I mean, we could go into the whole realms of going in from 3D to 5D and so on and so forth. But for me, ascension is that we're remembering exactly who we are. And as we do that, our full energy bodies and our connections are expanding in such a way that we will have more abilities. And said remembering is never ever about finding the missing piece. It's more about reorganization.
Well, plus, from what I understand too, because right now, the way things were before going through this ascension, in order for people to change or to really learn, it usually resulted in a painful experience, because when things are status quo and they're amazing, what do we all say? Oh my gosh, I wish this could go on forever. You don't want to change a thing, right? But
Yeah.
and what we've had to do is go through something painful. And then with our free will, we have the choice. And I'll use an example. Um, I don't know why, but John Walsh came to mind. Him and his wife lost their little boy, Adam Walsh, at 5 years of age. He was taken, and I have to be careful on YouTube, unalived. Never got the answers. The parents' worst nightmare happened at a shopping mall. Mom was gone for 5 minutes to go check on something, and the child's missing. Where I'm going with this is right with free will. And neither is a right or wrong answer for people listening. But I mean, you could just crumble and get into a ball for the rest of your life, and I don't think anybody would blame you going through something that awful. Or you choose what's happened with this experience, and you create something for the rest of humanity, so they never have to go through what you did. And he created, I think it was America's Most Wanted or something. So, but with the ascension, from what I understand, that's going to be part of it. That's not the whole thing for people listening, but just even one of the bonuses, that we will not have to go through this pain all the time,
Mm.
be able to learn and grow. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely agreeing with you there, because I mean that could then open the whole conversation about um the level of kind of like control and manipulation we've been in, because we've been in this world where there is that level of fear and sadness and things like that. So absolutely, because our bodies, I think it's somebody in the chat just said there, is becoming way more crystalline. So where we will be in this whole different form, there won't we won't be at those are lower vibrational um feelings and thoughts. And yeah, thank you so much. Sorry, I just saw it on the side there. So thank you for the reminder. Is yeah, that there won't we won't necessarily be affected or as affected. And as you rightly said as well there, Lorelei, which I absolutely agree with, is that as we oh, sorry, I've completely lost my train of thought. But
It's okay.
I
It
mean,
happens to me all the time, because,
oh,
and I'm sure people think,
I was gonna roll on so well, but I'm
hearing spirit, we're talking. I'm same thing on the show, producing. It's hotter than heck, you guys.
yeah, I was gonna say I've got the fan on here. That was my authenticity that my ADHD
Keep it
brain
on. Keep it on.
has completely gone there. But I think one thing I just wanted to say is that not only in where we are now, one of the biggest things is that um, clarity, when our perception outpaces our explanation. And I think that's the point I was trying to make, following on from what you were just saying there, is that there is so much that is changing, and sometimes we can't always wrap our heads around it. I mean, you might be one of those people that are, I'll coin the phrase of waking up, that are really kind of like watching the news and kind of going, really? Or whatever the case may be, or are starting to feel different things, experience different things, see different things. And that is where clarity, when your perception outpaces the explanation, is that not only with our conversations now, but hopefully within, as I said, the book as well, might start being able to give you some sort of a roadmap as to what that then looks like. it's not, as I said, it's the complete map. But again, if you just open it on a page, it might then start taking you down. It's kind of like, I don't know if you had it in the States, but an A to Z map. Yeah, it's like a
I'm in
map.
Canada. I'm in
Yeah.
Canada.
Sorry, honey.
That's okay.
It's where you but it's like a paper one that you used to open in the car.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's
I'm
kind of
older
like
than you, so of course we had maps like that.
I remember because like you used to be like driving along, all of a sudden you'd be like right in the crease, and mum's asking you going left or right, and I'm like, I don't know which way the paper folds.
I still can't read a map. I just
So
asked my Dell, his mom or my mother-in-law didn't know this, and I said I do know some of my faults, and I'm not purposely saying that I'm aware of this. I'm not doing anything about it. But I remember saying to Dell, this is when he was in the hospital. I said, Dell, how well can I read a map? He goes, she can't, and I can't. Like I just can't. I just can't. And I'm not unintelligent. It just to
oh
flip
no,
it
a
all,
paper
it's
map is
neurodivergent brain
awful.
to flip it all around, and yeah, not me.
Yeah, a TomTom and Google Map is, I think, one of the best inventions ever. But I think when it comes to like going back to what we were just saying around what is going on at the moment, and that way of clarity when your perception outpaces your explanation, is that hopefully the book The Frequency of Truth may start giving you that map.
And you don't always have a map to your final destination, especially say you're going on a long journey, right? So the fact that you have this beautiful book that you've written, and it sounds quite comprehensive. And of course, it's not going to be the roadmap to everybody's journey to frequency of truth, but it's going to give you enough tools and enough guidelines for you then to delve in, tap in, and start your own journey to the frequency of what your truth is.
Yes, it
Mhm.
is all about your own journey. This just gives you a little bit of a, yeah, thank you. That was beautiful.
Well, that, yeah, don't thank me. That was from spirit. Okay, so I seen this question. And I don't know. Maybe you'll understand. But if we don't, I'd love for you to type it out and explain a little bit. But Kiara is sharing, and there's a typo. She said this already. Just joking in a way, but why? It's not why do you feel? She corrected it. It says, why do I feel called out? I am trying to catch the info. I promise. So I don't know. We were talking. Well, we've been talking about your book. So if you don't get it either, because I'm not quite sure what you're asking, Kiara, but I think it's an important question. So if you can just clarify a little bit maybe for us, and then I'd be happy to share, I just wanted to give you the opportunity in case maybe, because lots of times I screw it up when I'm reading it, and then somebody else will go, no, 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 this is what it means.
No, I'm sorry, Kiara. I'm not catching. Well, you're not catching the information. I'm not catching the question. So yeah, please do type something as well, and we'll see what we can do.
And I'm going to say hi to our time travelers, I love to call her. Mish is joining us from Australia, so it's Tuesday morning over there already. So thank you for popping in. Your name's different again, Mish. It's Michelle today. I'm just going through here. Hang on. Yeah, I'm sure it is cooling off in Australia because it's getting warm over here in the northern hemisphere. So, oh, wait, I'm going to go up a little higher. I think I found it. Kiara says, I'm good. Was just kind of joking because you say for the ones who don't know, I'm that one.
Oh.
Well, can I add something? I don't think it's that you don't know. Like you said, you're learning, and that's kind of how it starts, right? So it's not that you don't. I'm going to tell you, when I began this journey years ago, and I would hear people talking about what the two of us are talking about, I would go, I'm never going to be there. Like I don't even know what you're tapping into, like where you're getting all of this, and what does this all mean? That's why I love that you said that there's a glossary at the end of your book, which I think is incredible. But the other thing is, believe it or not, the more you start to learn about this, A lot of this stuff almost happens like osmosis, if you will. It comes through downloads. And some of the, like when you had just complimented me and what I said, I can honestly say, Kiara, that wasn't my words. That was like spirit tapping in and coming from spirit, and it happens. And I'd love to hear if you have some advice for Kiara, anybody else that's listening, maybe feeling very much like they're just a newbie, because we're not. It's kind of what we've been talking about, going within, tapping into our higher self. But please continue.
I think that the two things that I would say, and that I do talk about in the book quite a lot, but besides that, that I think is very, very important now, because there is a lot of information and it can get very overwhelming. And I think it's with regards to all of this, but just information in general, maybe not just about this topic, maybe is your own discernment. And what I mean by discernment is going back to your own truth. It's how does it feel for you? How does it sit with you? It's almost as though it's kind of, even if you don't mind me saying, even like listening to both of us talking now, it's kind of, if even you might just take a minute, take a step back. Right. Okay. Does that resonate with me? Yes. No. If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't,
That's
you know
okay.
something? It's okay.
It's okay. Absolutely.
If it doesn't, that's perfectly fine. If it does, fantastic. Because and you might read and you might go, okay, that's fine, and then move on to say next week's show or something like that. And then you might hear something else and you go, yeah, that feels right. Because again, it's like a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So to me, discernment is a bit like a muscle. The more we use it, the more it's kind of like our intuition. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Our intuition, the more we use it, the more we know that's right, that's wrong, or this feels good, that feels bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one side of it. The other side of it is the fact that you're watching these programs, listening to these
You're
programs.
reading my mind. I was just waiting to see it. So take it away. I was just about to say what you're saying right now.
Yeah, is that the one most amazing thing that all you guys are doing is staying curious.
Yes.
Is absolutely, and I think I've even put it on the back of the book, because the more you question and not challenge, it's not coming from a place of challenging to go, you know what, you're wrong, I'm right. It's like asking somebody else for their point of view and going, well, actually, no, you're wrong. It's like, well, actually, no, I've listened to what you've said, and so on and so forth. It's being open. And I think watching this program, maybe over listening to someone mine, listening to all the other amazing programs on this station as well, is that it is that staying curious. I think the second you start closing the mind again, or you start closing the thoughts again, that's when it can get maybe a bit isolating. Or you might have been isolated and then started being curious. And I'm using the hand gesture of like opening a flower, because it is just exactly that. It's kind of like you need to open the flower to let the light in.
What I'm
But
going to add,
it's your discernment as to how much light you let in.
what I agree, because what I was also going to add, trust and know. Collectively, I call it spirit, because there's a whole big plate. We could probably spend the 2 hours just naming, and we still didn't name all the parts of what spirit is. Trust and know that you were here for a reason. No matter what it is, you are right. You're in the perfect place because you're there for a reason. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, it's almost like a key, if you will.
Yeah.
If you don't agree with it, like I 100%. You said it so beautifully, right? You're here. Remain open. Try it on, see how it feels. And if it doesn't resonate, it's like, no, because I can tell you, I'm not the same person I was a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. My beliefs have changed. What I learn, more I get to know. Knowledge is empowering. But the thing is, every single one of you, whether you're watching the replay or you're live, or they go to the next live that you do, or anybody else, you are there for a reason. Now, like I said earlier, all the things that broke on the same day with me, I am open to the possibility that there is a reason why it happened. I might never know, or maybe I was meant to meet somebody through, having to find out what the solution is or whatever that is, but I'm open to it. So, where I'm going with this is you are here, and whether it resonates or it doesn't, even and Spirit keeps saying it's like a key, right? If you don't resonate, that's okay. But you're here, and it's like a key, if you will, opening up. I'm going to open another doorway. Maybe it's leading me through the maps we're talking about here. You've got that key within you. That's the truth, right? The search for the truth and what resonates. And opening that, maybe you're going to go in a little bit different direction and something else is going to resonate. That's the beauty and the joy and the fun.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing this from Spirit, being here and living your life.
Yeah. That is so beautiful. Oh,
So
that's wonderful. Thank you
yes,
so much.
Victoria just ordered Annette's book. I can't wait to read it. I'm so happy. And you guys, Annette has been on here. Gosh, I think this is your fourth time, and I will have Annette on numerous times because I trust and know when I have Annette on, and when her beautiful mom comes on, same thing. We have more than enough to talk about. We're due for a catch up because of the time difference with you over in the UK. But when we get talking, we could talk for 6 hours. Like half an hour. Now, we did have a little comment here because Carrie's sharing this, and thank you, Carrie, for sharing. Detoxing toxic relationships and your body is good to raise that vibration.
Yeah.
I am doing both, and good.
Well done. That's fantastic.
So, but and you know what? I'm glad that you picked up the book. I need to get a copy as well. Like I said, it just came out in May, but so Mish is also adding because there's quite a few comments we missed here. So reason, season, or I'm pleased on, maybe is what she said. I'm not quite sure there. Hang on. But you are right, Mish. It's not so much I always say knowledge is power. I say knowledge is empowering, right?
Oh, I like that. Yes, knowledge is empowering.
And it dispels fear because there's only two emotions. And I remember when I first heard this years ago, I was like, what are you talking about? There's love or fear, right? Every other emotion that we have, eventually when you break it down, does break down to fear.
But then it's also, you could, again, we could probably go into another 2 hours on this conversation, but it's around your perception of fear. It's like, as we said before, one of my favorite sayings is clarity when perception overpaces explanation, because sometimes it's your brain that's actually kind of making that fear. So if you're perceiving something as being fearful, but I think that's a whole can of worms that we can definitely go down there. But I completely agree in what you're saying. It's kind of like there is that balance, and there are those two main emotions that we kind of live in. But the one emotion that I really would like, or feeling as it were, that I think has been an underlining factor throughout this whole conversation, and that I feel very strongly when we talk, is joy.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the ones that we, and again, in my personal experience, that's why, like, even a couple of years ago, I started dyeing my hair pink and stuff like that, because I was like, no, I need to start being more colorful, and because that's my joy.
That's what's different about you. When you came on here, you said that. 'Cause I have purple hair. I know. I don't know why it's so dark. I have light here. I have light here. I have light here. I have light here. It's still going light dark.
It will go. The pink will come back. I
Okay.
promise you, the pink will come back. This
Your
is my
hair
this
looks
is my
weird.
natural color for now. But I wasn't looking after my hair that well, so I kind of just leave it out for a little while, and then the pink will go back. But like when we were saying, it's kind of like going back to the purpose, going back to the frequency of your truth. It's rediscovering what brings you joy.
Yes.
And it's, again, that feeling, that emotion, that frequency of joy, no matter what it is. I think Lady D was saying it earlier, is that when we're looking at our purpose, it's kind of what then brings us joy. And like when that the lady was saying there around movement, I mean, you can do like I think it's called Vipassana meditations, and I've probably butchered that a little bit, but like walking meditations, if you want to do movement, that might bring you a little bit more joy. I mean, to me, it's playing with my dog first thing in the morning in the garden, or it could be something really tiny or really big. Like if you're, I mean, I was always scared to wear bright colors. Now I wear nothing but, and that is my tiny piece of joy every day. So again, when we're raising our vibration, we're raising our frequency, we're looking at our purpose, we're going into our truth. A lot of, I mean, some people call it love, but I like to think of it as joy, because that's really what feeds the heart as well. And I think throughout all of this wonderful, wonderful conversation, I know that's something that I've certainly been feeling when we talk, Lovely, is that
Me too.
What is yours? Ask yourself that question when you're in that 2 minutes or minute or 10 minutes, however long, of breathing. But it's that, not the expectation of what somebody else expects your joy to be.
I'm going to share something to support that, because that's beautiful, and I agree 100%. When my son Justin passed away, it was January 15th, 2025. And it was very unexpected, and it was a couple days after, and I remember having this conversation with Spirit, and I kept saying, I really, really, really hate the way I'm feeling. I know hate is a strong word, but it's, and I was saying to Spirit, this is such a foreign feeling to me, and it's not like I've never had grief before or been around people that have passed away. And I, again, being truthful with Spirit, I'm really struggling here. How can, what can you suggest to help? And the first thing was, find little tiny pockets of joy. Even if it's for a minute, even if it's for 5 minutes, seek it out, look for it. And you know what? Spirit, like I'm almost in tears. And the reason why, because it was so right. It was the only thing that started to help me to be able to cope, to heal. And it was a little bit of an escape, because, and it could be the smallest thing. It doesn't matter. And we can't go externally to find out what brings us joy. We have to go within. Best medicine for the soul, honestly.
100%. Thank you for that. Because as you said, it could be like just your favorite coffee. It could be.
It was Harry Potter Miniverse for me. And Miniverse, I love resin, and it had just come out with little teeny tiny molds, and like I can make Birdie Bots beans and all kinds of stuff. They had come out with it. No, did I go crazy? No, but you know what? They were there, and people may think it's silly. It's a toy, but it was. I love resin. Love Harry Potter, and it did, and it took me out of those feelings of complete and utter despair. And I wasn't like that for long. But what I'm saying is that came from Spirit. That was truth. And the only way that I could help with that healing myself was to go within, to find that truth and what brought me joy. That wasn't the only thing, but I use that as an example a little bit. I really did help, but it wasn't the only thing. It was about being honest with yourself. I didn't care what people thought. right?
No.
Because it's about healing. And when we're in that joyful state, your vibration is raised right there, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, time, I mean, we can go into like the fact that time is linear and things like that, and it's a human construct. So as long as you said, that feeling is there, that vibration is there, it doesn't matter, as you beautifully put there, that it's for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It doesn't matter. It's there. And I mean, you could think of like, I don't know, a 50-year-old woman who still likes coloring books. Who cares? Or
Look on the back of my wall, people.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. I love these creatures. They're called Namis. Namis and Maymays. And my wall is covered, and I have Labubu's and little fuzzy furry things over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 61 in August, but guess what? They bring me joy.
Oh, I have fluffy notebooks. All my notebooks are fluffy.
Oh, I have fuzzy ones too.
That's what makes me smile.
But that's
So
what
it's just tiny things.
Yes. And it doesn't have to cost
Why
money.
not? No.
Like you said, play with your dog in the morning, or I sit outside. I bought this brand new bird feeder I was telling people about it the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
And I
lovely.
don't want to spend a lot of money on it, but it's got a feeder in the back, and the roof snaps up and down. That's where the solar panel is, and there's the most incredible camera in there, so you can watch the birds up close. And I do watch the birds every day and have a little conversation with them. Again, it doesn't have to cost money though.
No.
You know. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, finding those little things that really bring you joy. And like you said, a cup of coffee. The reason why, the other thing too with the joy that will help raise the vibration, but also I think with the truth too is gratitude, being grateful for the things
hugely
too. Mm-hmm.
Hugely. But if I can just add one more thing on there about gratitude as well, though, and it's a rabbit hole that I myself absolutely fell down years ago, is when people say, about feeling that gratitude and saying, oh, I've got a roof over my house and I've got a good health and things like that. You can say it as much as you want. And saying is still good because words have their own vibration. Still fantastic. No judgment. Definitely, if that's where you're starting from, fantastic.
I give her a big hug for this.
Slight difference that might make it a bit, that it might make it a little bit more powerful, more impactful, is that feeling, like we were saying about joy. And again, same with joy. It doesn't have to be anything big.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, yes, okay, you got a roof over your head, you've got food in the freezer, you've got brilliant, but you might not actually feel grateful for those things. You've got them, yeah, and you think, yeah, I am very grateful for them, but the feeling might not necessarily be there.
I agree.
So if it could be, if there is something that you genuinely feel grateful for. I mean, the other day we went, I've been looking for just a plain white, and again, I know this is like materialistic, but I'm going to run with it.
Brings you joy.
For the longest time, I've just been looking for a plain white summer dress. Done.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I think I can find one. Found one yesterday. Oh, I was beyond grateful. It was fantastic. And because I'm a short person, it's not always easy. And I tell you what, that brought me so much joy, and I was so grateful for it.
Yes.
Or the other day when what was it? I was that was it. I was sitting on the couch. I think there was like something on TV or whatever, and I started to go into this meditation, and one of the beings that one of the levels of intelligence that I've been connected with for a long time, I hadn't really connected with for a while, and I'm actually going to start crying. And they haven't come through for a very long time, and they did. And as soon as I woke up, I was the birthdays come at once.
People are,
and so that was that level of gratitude. I was so
and
grateful
I think
that they were there.
That's so weird. I just looked at the time. I thought we had like 20 minutes. We got like 3, 4 minutes. I want to thank you all. Ian saying gratitude is a life hack. People are sharing the beautiful things in the chat that bring them joy. Carrie, I apologize. I'm so sorry that you had the burn that you did, but the fact that you shared that it could have been worse, but you were able to see that. You guys, you know what? I love when you come on here, and I'm your mom when she comes on too. I would love to have you back on, but there's people in here. Somebody ordered the book. They're going to order the book. Tell them, please, how can they get a hold of you? Where to get the book? And again, I wish we had 4 more hours.
We could talk forever, but no, this
I
has
know
been
it's 1 a.m. almost where you are, though.
yeah, so joyful as always. But no, thank you so much. So my website is alarianresonance.com. So all of my one-to-one sessions, book, everything like that is there. The book is available on Amazon, Kindle, and ebooks with Barnes and Noble and Apple and all those fun ones. But the paper one is currently, I think, just on Amazon at the moment. And my social medias is Annette Beckham Official across the piece, just not TikTok yet. So yeah, please do come along to the channel as well, which will be brilliant. And yeah, I look forward to coming back and for seeing Mum on here as well, which will be fantastic. And thank you
Yes.
to everyone for just your wonderful comments, and it's always such a pleasure.
You know what? I have so much fun doing this show, and I knew today already, because sometimes I don't meet my guests till 2 minutes before they come on, right? Like it's just an email, but I knew you were coming on, and it was like, I was like, oh, this is going to be not that it wouldn't be fun, but when you don't know somebody, you don't know what their personality would be like. It was like, oh, this is just going to fly by, and it did.
We're just gonna have a chat.
Yes, Victoria from Astrolight Paranormal is saying, thank you so much, Loriliei and Annette. Absolutely wonderful
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Don't go anywhere because Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron are coming up next with the Light Gate. I'm checking as I'm talking here because I forgot to check and see who's coming on next week, you guys. I got to check. But if you guys ever want to get a hold of me, you can get a hold of me on almost every single social media platform under Loriliei Povtvin or the Angel Rock. I do have a business page on Facebook at the moment. It's been up for a long time. I'm eventually going to a domain name. My best friend and I are working on courses and building a community. When it does, we'll go to a domain name. You can get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock. I do psychic and mediumship readings. I do energy healing. I do crystal Reiki. I do Akashic Records, teaching and mentoring and things like that. So, or if you got a guest idea or a show suggestion, anything you guys may want to see, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to connect with you. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Annette, for being here. I know I'm going to have her back on, you guys. I know I will. And we're having on, you love this lady too. Her name is Fatula Adrimi. You may not recognize the name. She has been, I think she's over in Scotland, originally from Greece. You would love her. I know you would. You and your mom.
Yes, I think I know that the lady does goddess work and things. Yeah.
The goddess. Yeah, goddess. Yeah, she's coming on next week, you guys.
Beautiful.
So I love you all so much. Thank you so much to everybody for all that you've contributed. Oracle of Delphi, Lady D says, great show, ladies. Misha saying, see you all in the future. Stay tuned. We got to get out of here. I just realized I got 8 o'clock on my, and we've got Dolly and Preston coming up next. All right, everybody, see you next week. Have a wonderful rest of your week. All right, much love to you all. Have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are.